girls. Let's give them some organic good food. Change your food, change your life. Change is good, good is right. We're taking it to a whole nother level. It's the cure to love and life. Yeah. We take good living to a whole nother level. Come on and go with me. Change your food, change your life. Don't you wanna go? Don't you wanna ride on the big side? We're taking it higher and higher and higher and higher. That's the show. We take good living to a whole nother level. Change your food, change your life. Change is good, good is right. We take good living to a whole nother level. Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you're listening to the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio World. I'm Dennis Weaver, your good food guide and founder of Change Your Food, Change Your Life, a fun, high-energy, good health edutainment company with song, story, and fun guests designed to inform, encourage, coach, and inspire you to make 100% organic good food choices. Foods that are life-giving, not life-diminishing. Remember, eating good equals feeling good. That's the equation for the good life. That fun opening cut of Good Living you just heard is from our Change Your Food, Change Your Life presents Good Living, a compilation CD album, and its title track is performed by Anna Maria Paisley. It is the worldwide organic good food anthem with officially registered fans from Albania to Atlanta, New Zealand to Nevada, Mozambique to Montana. So the next time you hear it playing, stand. Our producer, D-Money, always does right here in the studio. You can catch D-Money on his own show, Fresh Juice, on Wednesday nights, full of cool entertainers from all over the country. You can get yourself the Good Living CD at changeyourfoodchangeyourlife.com, changeyourfoodchangeyourlife.com. On the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show, we've had guests from all around the United States, Canada, and Mexico who talk, write, grow, mine, farm, police, buy, prepare, serve, make, teach, design, package, and sing about organic good food. They create organic cosmetics, advocate and lobby for organic good food. They read to children about organic good food. They talk about the good health of organic good food. They use organic good food as therapy. They juice organic good food fruits. They grow organic cotton t-shirts. I'm wearing one right now. They help with gluten-free choices, offer zero-waste package-free shopping. They lift spirits with organic floral essences and handcraft an organic sofa so soft, you'll go, ah. Uncle Matt himself of Uncle Matt's Organic Juices, the Mistress of Mushrooms, the Healthy Human, the Rev, Ms. Healthy Way, the Salt Miner, the Professor of Pickling, Ms. Bear Life, and Sweet Bako Sweet, to name just a few of the previous guests on the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show, all working hard to make that healthful difference in your life. I've told you the story of Mary and Tanya when a bean is not a bean, and I proved it costs less to live the organic good food life than not. And if that's not enough for you, we've had the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show musical. You're listening to Dennis Weaver, good food guide and host of the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio World. On previous Change Your Food, Change Your Life shows, we've introduced you to organic good food, cookies, donuts, dates, and mushrooms. Well, today, it's regeneratively farmed sea greens, kelp. A mission-driven, women-run company, Atlantic Sea Farms, has helped shape an entirely new sea greens farming industry in the United States. Atlantic Sea Farms was the first commercial seaweed farm in the country and is now responsible for the majority of domestic sea green farming. Atlantic Sea Farms is dedicated to making a positive impact on your health, its coastal fishing communities, and our planet by creating delicious foods made from regeneratively farmed kelp sea greens. As they say at Atlantic Sea Farms, good food should do good. And it is and does. So now, calling in from Biddeford, Maine, the brand manager herself, here's Kiera Foti.
Hello, how's it going?
Fine, thank you, and thank you for asking. Welcome, Kiera, to the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. In addition to being the first, I'll also mention that Atlantic Sea Farms will be featured in an upcoming documentary series by Picture Motion, How to Change the World. It's an aspirational documentary series by Picture Motion, highlighting companies from around the world that are working to create lasting, positive change. Some of you in the audience may have seen some dried seaweed products in a store, and we're not too excited. So, Kiera, how about a quick listing of the wonderful variety of your delish sea green kelp foods to show them the difference between Atlantic Sea Farms and all the others?
Yeah, so we have our fermented products, our fermented seaweed salad. We also have a sichi, kimchi made with kelp. We have a spicy gochujang seaweed salad as well. And then in the frozen section, we have our sea veggie burgers, a ginger sesame sea veggie burger, as well as a basil pesto. And then we do have some frozen products as well, a frozen seaweed salad and a ready-to-eat kelp. And then 2 kelp powders on Amazon, 2 dried products, a kelp flake and a kelp powder.
Again, please make us hungry. Make us hungry.
Yeah, we have our sea veggie burgers, ginger sesame and basil pesto, 3 ferments, a kimchi made with kelp called sichi, a fermented seaweed salad, and a spicy gochujang seaweed salad, all in the refrigerated section. Some frozen seaweed salad as well that's not fermented, and a ready-to-eat kelp that's just shredded frozen kelp. And then we have our organic kelp powder and our organic kelp flakes on Amazon.
So who are you, Kiera Foti?
So I am the brand manager at Atlantic Sea Farms. And just to kind of give you a bit of a sort of taste as to my background, I have worked in food my entire career. I grew up in New York with 2 parents obsessively, professionally obsessed, I should say, with cooking. So my dad was a line cook in various restaurants before opening his own restaurant, and my mom, pastry chef and then a baker before managing a large bakery. And so food's always been in my central focus of my life. And then when I graduated college myself, I did end up doing a stint of line cook work before starting to work at Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture in New York. So that's a nonprofit that focuses on regenerative farming and education and innovation around sustainable farming practices. And I was working on the nonprofit side in education. So talking to people a lot about farming practices that are really holistic and support the environment that they're growing in. And then also the ways that food culture can support sustainable food sources and sustainable farming. So I worked there for 7 years, and I learned actually about Atlantic Sea Farms while I was there because the world famous restaurant Blue Hill at Stone Barns, which is on the nonprofit farm site, actually utilized Atlantic Sea Farms kelp in their restaurant because it's, regeneratively grown. And so I was planning to move to Maine, and I looked into, Atlantic Sea Farms as a company when I was getting ready to move. And in 2022, I got a job at Atlantic Sea Farms in the sales department. So kind of working on selling our products. And I've always just loved kind of pushing the better food future as part of my work in my career. And I also just love food so much. I cook constantly. I'm always buying cookbooks. I have way too many at all times. And a lot of my friends and family are cooks as well. So it's a huge part of my life.
You're listening to Kiera Foti, bringing you Atlantic Sea Farms Superfood Kelp Sea Greens for your own good health and happiness. This is the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. What's the why of Atlantic Sea Farms?
Yeah, so Atlantic Sea Farms is a women-run, mission-driven seaweed farming company. And so we're really working to make a positive and powerful impact on the health of our oceans and also our coastal communities and our consumers, because seaweed's a superfood. And so we make products from regeneratively farmed sea greens. And really the core of our work is partnering with these coastal communities, specifically fishermen in these communities in Maine, to grow the seaweed on open ocean farms. And we're doing that because the wild fisheries industry in the US has gotten really volatile. Our waters are warming really rapidly, and specifically the Gulf of Maine is warming faster than 99% of the oceans in the world. And so that's causing, especially with lobstering, which is the bulk of the wild fishery industry in New England, to be very volatile. Some years are good, some years are not so good, but generally we are seeing the populations of lobsters shift, and it causes just kind of inconsistencies in an income source that so many of these communities depend on each year. So interestingly enough, kelp is a winter crop, and lobstering is something fishermen do in the spring, summer, and fall. So they can actually grow seaweed on open ocean farms in their off seasons from fishing. And we are, strong partners with them. We're providing the kelp seed for free. And then we are guaranteed purchasing all of the kelp that they grow in the spring and giving them a check for it right before they go out and start their lobstering season. So it helps really these fishing communities to have a buffer and a secure income during times of, really a lot of change in their industry.
That's a perfect match. Winter, summer. Perfect.
I know. Yeah.
You and I will be using the term regenerative. What does regenerative seaweed farming actually mean?
Well, kelp is really good for the ocean as it grows. So regenerative really just means, continuing something that you're doing that kind of continues to benefit the environment it's growing in so that it can sustain itself. So seaweed, it needs nutrients like any plant from the water as it's growing. And it's a zero input crop for us. So we're not, our farmers are not adding anything to the water in terms of nutrients. They're not adding any pesticides, obviously. They're not adding any fertilizers, nothing. They are just having the seaweed grow, and it relies on Mother Nature to grow off the lines on their farms. The nutrients that kelp absorbs are actually in excess in our oceans. So carbon, we all hear a lot about carbon as a greenhouse gas. We have too much of it in our atmosphere, causing, global warming, but it's also in excess in our oceans. And the more kelp you grow, the more carbon you're absorbing. So we're absorbing carbon and therefore making the ocean healthier than when we got there by absorbing some of that excess.
So now the question we all would have, how do you farm kelp? How is it grown?
So our farmers are growing kelp on lines, meaning ropes that are set up kind of like crop lines, but just 7 feet under the surface of the water. So we have these lines of rope that are anchored on either end. And so they're floating, parallel to like the surface of the water. And they're sunk just beneath the surface so that the kelp gets sunlight. And it's not, sunk too far down, and it isn't dragging on the bottom of the ocean floor. And those rope lines are seeded, meaning there is a small string that is unraveled onto the line before it's set up of kelp sprouts. And at Atlantic Sea Farms headquarters, where I am right now, we produce all the kelp sprouts in water tanks in our facility. And then those sprouts are growing on spools of string that they are then the farmers are then releasing onto the ropes. So like unraveling onto the ropes so that all of the kelp really attaches to those ropes and grows underwater. And it grows from being like a 1/2 inch long in November to being by April, a 12-foot long blade of seaweed. So super efficient and growing all on ropes.
You sent me a picture of that beautiful kelp coming out of the pristine sea on that rope. I'll share that with the audience when we do some social media.
Great. Yeah.
What has Atlantic Sea Farms done for you? We mentioned a bit, but for the local fishing industry and fishing communities?
Yeah, well, we've really made it so that, and like this is really also to credit the fishing communities themselves. Maine is leading in the seaweed farming industry in the country. So we are growing the majority of the farm seaweed in the United States here now. And that's really interesting because it means that diversification of seaweed farming is actually happening. And we at Atlantic Sea Farms are trying to build the market for kelp so that we can have more and more seaweed farmers out on the water selling their seaweed to us, making that additional income. And in 2024's harvest season, so just this past spring, our partner farmers harvested a record-breaking 1.3 million pounds of farm seaweed. And that had us putting over $1 million back into the fishing communities in New England as a diversification strategy. And therefore, all those fishermen have those checks to rely on and that security before the lobstering season started in the spring. So really just trying to essentially, show that this can work and have the people who are most affected by climate change, the fishermen, really at the reins and feeling empowered to make change themselves.
Well, as your comment or your statement is correct, as I quote at the beginning of the show, Atlantic Sea Farms, good food should do good. Sounds like you're doing both.
Yeah, it's important part of our work. Yeah.
This is the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio World. And you're listening to Kiera Foti calling in from Biddeford, Maine, talking Atlantic Sea Farms sea greens. You call your regeneratively farmed sea greens a superfood. Why so?
Yeah. So kelp has a really unique nutrient profile. It's chock full of trace minerals and nutrients from the sea. So, a lot of our fruits and vegetables are really nutritious, but they have a different nutrient profile because they're not growing in the same environment as seaweed. So seaweed's got, tons of iodine, B12, magnesium, things that are harder to find in even the most well-rounded of diets, I would say. And again, very different from what you're getting with other land-grown fruits and vegetables. So it's just really good for all aspects, and especially getting the minerals that you only really get otherwise from like shellfish, which isn't a regular part of most people's diets.
Well, Atlantic Sea Farms, regeneratively farmed sea greens are grown in the pristine northeastern cool waters by, I love the term, sea farmers. And this is so cool. Sea greens are such a new food that your Atlantic Sea Farms is creating a whole new category of USDA organic. Wow. Why are your Atlantic Sea Farms superfood kelp sea greens good for thyroid health?
Well, seaweed is really one of the best sources of iodine when it comes to food and kind of thinking about food as medicine. And iodine's really needed to make thyroid hormones that help regulate metabolism. So like,
how about
so most,
yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say for most Americans.
How about for prenatal and maternal health?
Oh yeah, so iodine's kind of traditionally used in a lot of parts of the world for prenatal and maternal health, especially in East Asia, and it's used by iodine's used by the thyroid gland to make thyroid hormones, which impact growth and brain development, and which are all essential during pregnancy and early childhood.
How about for blood sugar regulation?
So seaweed contains different compounds, bioactive compounds, and soluble fibers that help lower blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity.
How about for heart health?
So kelp's also got a lot of anti-inflammatory compounds, antioxidants, cholesterol lowering, soluble fibers, and then studies have shown that higher seaweed intake is also associated with a lower risk of coronary artery disease. Yeah.
How about for gut health?
Well, generally speaking, seaweed supports a good microbiome. So that affects everything in your body, as you know, and it contains an amino acid called glutamine, which reduces inflammation, supports gut health, but our products are also fermented. So they also really help support your microbiome through that.
Well, your Atlantic Sea Farms kelp sea greens aren't called a superfood for nothing, huh? After that list.
Yeah.
Your Atlantic Sea Farms sea burgers are, of course, good on a bun with all the fixings, but also versatile and deliciously used in?
I use them as a salad topper a lot of the times. They're just a good source of protein, and they're super tasty and umami rich. And you can also throw them in pita with vegetables or sandwiches, however you want to use them.
How are your organic good food kelp powder and kelp flakes enjoyed?
We have a lot of good recipes on our website for this. I've done a popcorn topping or like a snack mix topping with them. And then you can also just like sprinkle them onto chowders or into dressings. And they just add that amazing like flavor bomb that comes with dried seaweed.
And how are your fermented kelp condiments enjoyed?
I'm always putting those, like they are already super flavorful. So I'm always putting them on salads, and then I don't have to make a salad dressing and I get all the good ferments and they're really juicy and briny. And then I also put them just on like cold soba noodles or steamed rice or something.
And
they
you,
really
with your,
are
and you
just
with your
delicious.
food background know from where you're talking. What are the ingredients in your Atlantic Sea Farms fermented seaweed salad?
So it's a really like classically a Japanese style seaweed salad. Kelp is the first ingredient. And then we have like sesame oil, ginger, tamari, scallions. And it's just a delicious, tangy, and has all the right umami flavors.
Wow. We've just been given a sign by our producer that we're almost out of time. So at the last remaining moments, after this show, Kiera, what's the one thing you'd like our audience to have remembered?
I think just that we should be eating more seaweed. Seaweed's a superfood for us. It's great for the ocean as it grows, and it stands to have a huge impact in the U.S. if we start farming it here more and more.
I had a sense you'd say something like that. Well, thank you so much, Kiera, for the show today, for introducing your Atlantic Sea Farms and how our audience can add a nutrient-dense superfood to their good food choices.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great.
Our pleasure again. Go to AtlanticSeaFarms.com, AtlanticSeaFarms.com. There's a nifty store locator so you know where to drive to right after today's show and get yourself some Atlantic Sea Farms seed greens. You can see Kiera and the team. You can meet the sea farmers and see how many it takes to bring you all the Atlantic Sea Farms good stuff. There's news and lots of delicious recipes too. Again, that's AtlanticSeaFarms.com, AtlanticSeaFarms.com. Does the Change of Food, Change of Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio World bring you the most interesting guests or what? This time it's Kiera Foti, broadening your good food choices with her versatile Atlantic Sea Farms superfood sea greens. Don't ever miss an episode of the Change of Food, Change of Life show, or you'll be sorry, and you won't be as smart and healthy as you could be. Thank you again, Kiera.
Yeah, let's kelp the earth together.
I'm going to say it. It's now pretty much a kelp world because of you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's go.
Am I right? You've been listening to Kiera Foti, Atlantic Sea Farms nutrient-dense superfood sea greens. This is the Change of Food, Change of Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio World. In the weeks following, sometimes you'll spend the full half hour with me, your good food guide, other times with live studio guests and calling guests as Kiera did today. Coming up, more organic good food stars and their stories, an organic good food garden in the Bronx, and maybe the return of the Tea Master. And yes, of course, we're still waiting for her, our internationally acclaimed designer darling, Nina Morgan-Jones, when she returns from London to Hollywood. She's getting closer, was in the south of France for a while, collaborating with an Italian designer. Organic good food has its glam. Check out Nina's rompboutique.com. Yeah, that's rompboutique.com. She sent me a note from London about her new collection with pictures. Romp and roll, baby. And as Nina says, stay wild and organic. In the meantime, feel free to call me, your good food guide, Dennis, at 425-774-8971, 425-774-8971, or email changeyourfood@hotmail.com, changeyourfood@hotmail.com. Follow me on X at changeyourfood. You can get yourself a copy of the songs you've heard today, Go Good Livin', and as we go out, Go O, and our Good Livin' compilation CD album at changeyourfoodchangeyourlife.com, changeyourfoodchangeyourlife.com. There are 16 tracks on the CD, 16 songs that celebrate the joy organic good food brings to life, jazz, pop, rap, gospel, blues. You can exercise to it, dance to it, sing to it, shop to it, barbecue to it, eat to it, drink to it, learn to it, lift up your day to it, be inspired by it. It is many diverse voices coming together, but with one message. Our Change Your Food, Change Your Life artist ambassadors hope that one of their songs catches your ear and makes that helpful difference in your life. You've been listening to Dennis Weaver, host of the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show, and Good Food Guide on Rainier Avenue Radio World, along with Kiera Foti, calling in from Biddeford, Maine, whose Atlantic Sea Farms superfood sea greens will change your good food world. And be sure and get yourself the hot new Rainier Avenue Radio World app so you can take Kiera and me with you. And it's free, videos, live broadcasts, and all the radio shows wherever you are. Change your food, change your life. Begin living the organic good food life, and the rest of your life just may be the best of your life. You'll have no anxiety. You'll feel better than when you began. You'll probably look better, have more energy, and be a few pounds lighter. Well, then why not change your food, change your life forever? Honor yourself by making 100% organic good food choices. Make that commitment to yourself, and if you do over the years, you'll thank yourself over and over again for having made that decision. So I wish each and every one of you in the audience our very, very best, and that you may find your good health and happiness as we have. Thank you for listening. O's up to your health.